Welcome back to Lawyer Mom Diaries. I'm attorney Michelle.
And I'm attorney Lalaine. Today we're diving into something very close to our hearts: pregnancy. The joys, the struggles, and of course, the rights of pregnant women in the Philippines. In our last episode, Shell, you shared that you became pregnant when you were like 22 years old. Um, while you were still in college at the time. That's what many would call early pregnancy, right? Something a lot of women face often unexpectedly. Since you personally went through this during your college years, can you walk us through with your first interesting pregnancy?
Sure, Attorney Lalaine. So, yes, I was 22 years old and in my third year college in architecture at the time when I found out that I was pregnant with my son, Gab. Hi, Gab.
Hi, Gab.
At that time, my life was really packed. I studied architecture during the day and I worked night shifts at JP Morgan Chase in IT Park. And on top of that, I even had just a small business. It was called Earth Shakes. I was selling fruit shakes behind the CIT.
yes.
Yeah. And I was into a lot of hobbies that time. Table tennis, badminton, going to the gym. I was playing varsity table tennis in CIT.
You were so active.
Yeah, so
then.
super active. Going to the gym at Waterfront to the gym
Oh,
almost
yeah.
every day. And even doing cosplay because I love anime. And my son right now also loves anime.
My daughter too.
I also had my first car back then. It was a second-hand Ford Link. So I was driving a manual car around Cebu City, which gave me the freedom to drive all around.
And to do everything you wanted to do at the time.
Yes, I was 22. So
Yeah.
at that time, I was in a long distance relationship with my current fiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gab's dad. He was based in New York that time, though he visits Cebu twice a year most of the time. And our relationship at that time, I remember it wasn't smooth. It was very rocky. So after that, when relationships get rocky, and then he
Make up
visited.
babies.
Yes, I got pregnant at that time.
Yeah.
And it was during one of his visits in 2015 that my life completely changed. So one night while I was at work, I suddenly felt ill. I was about to faint. I went to the ER, and to my surprise, there's a tiny heartbeat. I was already 3 months pregnant at the time. So
What was your initial reaction, Shell?
it was weird because I was turned into a mom
At a young age.
yeah, a mother immediately, and I was thinking about objectively about what's going to be my next steps. What are the things that I need to prepare? How am I going to be able to take care of my baby?
Yeah, at a young age,
At a young
22.
age, because at the time I had menstruation, but it turned out to be bleeding pregnancy related, so I needed to be on bed rest to save Gab. And the moment I found out, my brain just immediately shifted into what I call motherhood mode. I am sure you can relate to that.
Yeah. Okay.
I became very objective. The first thing that I did was tell G about it, my fiance, and we decided that no
Because
matter
as usual,
Yeah.
that's the first thing every woman should
Right.
do. Like tell the father of the child.
Yes, and decide from there. And we decided that no matter how unprepared we were, because I was 22 years old at that time, we would step up and become parents. Of course, I had to make sacrifices, Attorney Lalaine. I stopped going to school during my second and third trimester because I was in bed rest. So I could, focus on my baby's health, close down Earth Shakes.
Yeah, your
Stop
business.
the hobbies and cut back on other activities. So I could, just
You have to
focus on
prioritize your
Yes.
pregnancy.
The priority really shifts when you become a mother.
Yes.
At that time, it was also stressful in my family because our eldest sister was about to get married at that
So
time.
how did you inform your parents, Shell? I
At
mean,
first-
it's one of the biggest challenge for early pregnancy. How do I break the news to my parents.
Right. And at a young age at that time, at 22. So at first, I decided not to tell my parents yet because I needed to make sure that everything was in place.
So after G, who did you tell the story?
G's mom.
Mom.
So G's mom was the one who took care of me, and his
Yeah.
sister Anna. Shout out to Mami Lasol and Anna Erica. Who they really took good care of me during those months. And then it was so funny, Attorney Lalaine, because that time when my parents found out, it was not me who told them about the news.
It was not the planned script.
Right. And I was just waiting for the right time when to
Yeah.
tell them. It was at the time when we were about to go to Baguio. We were at a hotel and I was with my sisters. I told them, don't tell our parents. Just let me tell them.
So all your siblings knew about it, but you told them not to.
Just
your
my
parents.
younger sisters,
Ah,
Nina
okay,
and Mikash at that
okay.
time. And then all of a sudden, we were planning our trip to Baguio and Ilocos because my sister's gonna be married there. And my sister Nina was like, padali na sa Ate Mitch, nga buntis mo na siya. Because she suddenly blurted it out.
Yeah.
I was like,
So what was the reaction of your parents?
my parents were shocked and they said, is it true? Tinuod di Aisha? And I said, yeah. But don't worry about it. I was already 6 months at that time. 6 months pregnant. Don't worry, everything's handled already. I already have my OB-GYN. Everything's good. At that time, because I was a first-time mom, my tummy was 6 months pregnant. I already have, all the baby essentials up until 1
All
year.
prepared.
All prepared. Because the anxiety will really trigger, the pregnancy hormones will really trigger you. And make sure that you're nesting.
So it's kind of ironic because if those were unplanned early pregnancy, they're not so prepared.
Right.
But your first pregnancy, you were
Yes.
the most prepared.
Very ironic back then because it was unplanned, but I made sure to make up for it. To ensure that I would be ready no matter what, that I would really take care of this beautiful gift that was given to me at such a young age.
Yes.
And so that was it. My mom asked me about all those, parent things. Are you gonna get married? What are you gonna
because
do?
the usual thing is that parents impose upon their
Correct.
children who had early pregnancy to get married right away, stop schooling, the usual decision of the parents to impose. It's difficult. Dapat, minyo na dayon,
Right.
kasal na dayon. Because, saan na lang ang kid? What will happen to the child when it will be born? It will be illegitimate and so on and so forth. How did you face that usual parent mode of letting you
What I
marry?
did was like I respect their time in sharing their thoughts because after all they're my parents. I explained to them everything that I have this already under control. I wanted to decide to marry not because of my pregnancy but because I wanted to. And then I also informed them about the status of the child because in the Philippines at that time and even until now, as long as there's an authority, what do you call that? Like
As long as there's a
paternity,
consent from the father and
yes, to
signs
use
at the
the
backup certificate
Right.
that they will allow the child to carry the surname of the father, you don't have to worry.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's different back then because back then it's very strict.
Yeah. And then parents will have the dilemma, how can
Right.
you bring this child to a Catholic school if you are unmarried? So but things have changed.
Yes.
And you're able to convince your
Yes, especially the
parents.
laws in the Philippines as well. The laws right now understands
Mm.
that there are really certain things that couple remains unmarried but still together.
Yes, that's true.
So
Like
I
you
remember-
and G.
Yeah, I remember staying calm at that time and just answering all their questions. And then after I was able to answer all their questions, it's like an interrogation room. And then they just we trust you, and I have been
This is my life.
yeah, I have been independent since I was like 14, 15. So they were able to understand that whatever consequences or results that my actions would take, I would be responsible.
And you never had any regrets deciding that I will not force myself to marry just because my parents said so or
Yes.
just because of the circumstance that I'm pregnant.
Yes, because for me, Attorney Lalaine, whatever choice that you will make in your life, it's gonna be you who will live on it. Either the consequences or the rewards, you're gonna be the one reaping that. And so you have to intentionally choose with or on your own. Of course, you may ask advice from mentors, from your parents, but at the end of the day, I would really suggest that you have to be the one to decide because you're gonna
And
live with that choice.
that's true, Shell. And interestingly, we handle family court cases, nullity of marriage, and the usual of failed marriages are those that were like they're not yet ready.
Yeah, they're imposed.
They're imposed to right away go into marriage, even if they're not just financially ready, emotionally ready.
Right.
And that could be a root cause that later on it will just be a problem that the couple will face.
Right.
Not just the couple, but the children will be the one greatly affected. So I think that's a right decision that you've had. So looking back, Shell, how did that experience of your early pregnancy change your outlook in life?
Looking back at Lalaine, it really forced me to grow up quickly.
At 22.
Yeah, because I had to juggle my studies, pregnancy, preparing for motherhood all at once. But it also gave me strength and purpose. I wasn't just studying for myself anymore. I was fighting also for my child's future. That kind of responsibility changes your mindset completely, really. Like you start seeing school, work, even relationships through the lens of motherhood. Of
It's
being a
not just about you this time.
Right.
It's
Like,
about your child.
yeah, so every decision that you will do, every choice that you make every day, you also have to consider how will this affect my child? How will this affect our family? So it
Yes.
gave me focus and drive that I don't think I would have had otherwise.
That's true. And now reflecting as both you have overcome that stage, a lawyer and now a mom and an expecting mother, what message would you give to young women who might be going through that same situation, early pregnancy, still in college, haven't finished school yet, and being unmarried at the time? What message would you give to these women?
I would be honest. I'd really tell them that it would be hard. Yes. People will also talk, society's expectation. But
Chismis,
yes,
chika.
but don't let the stigma really dictate your future. First, seek support from your partner, from your family. Also, importantly, keep your faith from the one above, really. And stay focused on your goals. Like, your life doesn't stop when you become a mother. In fact, it continues, it grows. You will be inspired to, do more and be more. And early pregnancy doesn't really mean it's the end of your dreams. It just means you just have to fight harder to reach them. And you're not alone this time.
And look at you now, already a successful architect and a lawyer despite the early pregnancy. And I think parents also has a bigger role in that, Shell.
Right.
We are moms and then we've got like kids, boys, and it's a difficult reaction to tell that your kids will tell you, hey mom, I got this person impregnated. Very difficult. But I think the parents have a major role in this
Right.
occasion. They have to be the most strong person to support the vulnerable children undergoing such an early stage and shouldn't be adding more pressure. It's easy for us to tell because we're not in that situation yet, but I think being conscious that
Right.
there is such thing would probably help us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think to add on that, it would always be from a place of love instead of from a place of what would the people tell.
Condemnation,
Yes, condemnation.
hate,
Yes. Or comparison. The kids of these children. It should come from a place of love and support.
I know it's not gonna be easy.
Right.
I might be having a nervous breakdown if I will
think
this. But nonetheless, just being conscious
Right.
that is a factor helps. Let's fast forward. Second pregnancy. How many weeks pregnant are you?
Right now, I'm going 37 weeks.
Imagine I've had my two children at 36 weeks. So fast forward, Shell. How can you differentiate the experience you've had in your first pregnancy and in your second pregnancy right now? 10 years apart. That's very
Right.
interesting, Shell. 10 years apart. Just to share, my first and second, they're just like less than 2 years apart. Even like you can say it's 1 year lang ang gap because 2015 January and December 2016. So it wasn't as difficult to have a 10-year gap like yours probably because I just had my firstborn and then here goes my second. Probably the adjustment was on how to pacify a clingy first 2-year-old girl. But how about you? 10-year gap. How did you manage?
So at first, it feels surreal because, oh, I'm gonna go back to like the beginning.
Zero.
But this time, it's more calm, more, because I already have experience of being a mom. Although it's kind of, I had anxiety at first because I'm a boy mom for the past 10 years. Gab plays soccer, he's sporty, I'm into sports, and I really enjoy being a boy mom. But now I'm having a daughter.
Oh,
baby
that's
girl.
interesting. That's so exciting because
Yeah.
you're so kikay. Finally, there's someone who can be as kikay as you na.
So I had those thoughts of how do I become a girl mom? How do I go back to square one? And Gab right now is very independent already. So I was used to that. And now suddenly I'm back to prenatal checkups, ultrasounds, newborn stuff all over again. In fact, I'm nesting. So I'm really here in the office. I keep buying a rocking chair.
Yeah.
But what's been amazing, Attorney Lalaine, is that these past 8 to 9 months, I've seen a new side of Gab. Him slowly transitioning into a big brother. That has been such a blessing to witness, really. And of course, I'm also very grateful to G and his family who are so excited to meet our baby girl. Gab already has a name. Gab wanted to name her Gabriella.
So how did Gab react when you first informed him that, oh, you will have a second child, that you will have your baby sister coming?
At first, he had a mixed reaction because, di na kunin mo palangga. And I told him, no, it's just like having friends in the house. Like, would you want to have just one friend, or what would you feel? What would you feel if you have another friend that you're close as well? I'd feel happy. Yes, because love expands. It really doesn't deduct once there's another person. And so I just keep on reminding him that there will be changes, but definitely there will be more love and hugging and kissing in this family once your baby sister arrives.
So the emotional assurance
Yes.
that this won't have a drastic change when your
Right.
baby sister is coming.
Yes. And I think that's very normal, really, because for the past 10 years, he's been an only child and the first grandchild on both sides of our family.
Very pampered.
Yeah, so you can imagine how
The center of attention.
Right, how we showered him with love and attention.
Yes.
And so when he learned he was going to have a sibling, his first worry was, will I still be loved? And Mom, I don't want to change room. Can you just put the baby in the bassinet or the crib?
Yes.
And that really broke my heart at first. But as parents, we explained to him that, again, love doesn't get divided.
But that's a good thing about it. It's easier to talk and
Right.
explain to a 10-year-old.
Yes. Because it's
But
going to be a
totally
conversation.
different with me. How can you let a very clingy 1-year-old
Toddler.
turning 2 explaining to her that, hey, I will be carrying another baby? So it was totally difficult, Shell. But we have to train her. We bought a baby doll for her to keep on, pretending that she has a baby so that she will understand. And it will really take time for her to understand because she was so close to us. She sleeps with us every day. And the only time that she was like away from us was the time that I was already in the hospital for my second born child. So that was quite challenging, unlike yours. The good thing about the 10-year gap is that it's easy to explain to them.
Yes.
So it was a very big adjustment when the baby arrived. I have to find time to spend more time with her. But she was really sleeping with me, and so the whole time. And how do I carry a breastfeeding boy? And here comes a 1-year-old turning 2 toddlers. So at least you can see the difference from telling the news to a 10-year-old and to a baby.
And I think it's different as well because yours is like a big sister and Gab is a big brother.
The
Right?
other way around.
Yeah. So your daughter immediately became an
An
ate.
ate, yeah. So we have to train. That also helps, Shell. You have to train them to call them ate. But they
Right.
will feel already that I'm an ate. So you have to call Kuya Gab.
Yes.
So that it will also be inculcated in him that I'm already a kuya.
Right.
And that helps. Of course, your first pregnancy was totally different from your second pregnancy, the stages in life. When I've had my pregnancy, the challenge I've had is that I'm too old already at that time. Back pains were so severe for me on the second pregnancy. How about you? Compared to the two, how can you compare insofar as the struggles you've had in the first and second?
I can really relate on that back pains. It's really different. When I was 22, I had so much energy. I was always on the go. Work, go, school, sports, everything. Now, being older, even going to the stairs here at the second floor of the office, I feel the changes physically. There are more body aches, definitely, and I really need to slow down. But emotionally, Lalaine, surprisingly, I feel stronger. I'm more grounded, more self-aware, perhaps because by age and experience.
Comes in maturity.
Right. And I know how to listen to my body already and to prioritize my well-being, because back then it was all about push, push, push. Go, go, go. Pushing through everything, not realizing that you already reached your limits. Now it's about balance and being intentional, making sure that you spend your energy from what really matters. So yes, the aches are real, but the peace and maturity I feel this time make up for it. And honestly, I'm just very excited. In 2 to 4 weeks,
In less than 4 weeks.
yeah, so finally I get to meet our little girl, baby Gabriela. When you're gonna listen to this,
She's probably out already. But that's beautiful, Shell. So if your first pregnancy was about like resilience, early pregnancy, and proving to the whole world that you can push through, on your second pregnancy, what's one important lesson for you that you've learned?
Yes, for me, it's about grace. I don't have to do it all perfectly. All mothers don't have to. I just have to, or we just have to embrace this chapter one day at a time,
True.
one moment at a time, one checklist, one to-do list at a time. And it's also about gratitude. Being able to raise children a decade apart, it's for me a unique blessing. I'm raising a young adult, Gab, who today just went to school wearing Igorot costume for his buwan ng wika, and soon a newborn at the same time. And that's a story in itself.
Yeah, the different kind, the
Right.
different lesson you've learned in the second pregnancy. Let's go to being lawyer mom, the struggles of being pregnant and working. I know there are a lot of pregnant women there, even have more tiring work than us, and they're also struggling. But let's take a look into our own story. That, for example, Michelle, if I may relate, when I in both of my two pregnancies, I never really stopped working. So even right after giving birth, the demands of like private practice that you have to do and attend to the messages and the calls and the needs of the clients, and even the corporate secretarial work that you have to sign documents, it cannot be delayed. That's my working story. Yeah, pregnant working story. I remember even the day that I was about to deliver my second child, Peyton, I wasn't even in the middle of negotiating a contract. And I was hoping that this will be done before Peyton.
You already have contraction.
Yes, I cannot really feel it, but I was still very busy. But I was counting that I have had 36 weeks for Trisha. I'm already on my 36 weeks. I'm afraid it will be the same thing all over again. So the plan was to finish everything, but I'm still in the negotiation with the contract. But when I attended to a school activity and I plan to go back to the office to sign the contract, I went to a prenatal check and the doctor told me, "Oh, Lalaine, you need to be admitted right now. You cannot go home. You have to give
Did
birth."
you bring your hospital bag already?
No, because I wasn't ready then. I was about to do some documents going back. So, okay, doc, can we just go home a bit? I have to say goodbye to my daughter because she wouldn't know that I won't be sleeping with her on that night. So she's not used to it. So I have to go home, pack up, and go to the hospital. And while in the hospital, I was even signing documents then. So I was really actively working in the two pregnancies. And for me, that helped me with my energy level and that I cannot think of the negative thoughts.
It was
of
another
pregnancy.
productive distraction for you.
Yes,
Just as what always do.
yes. And luckily, my deliveries were smooth. My first born child even came so fast that my doctor almost missed it. No epidurals, no pain relievers, and that's it. When she arrived, just holding already the head of the baby, she was too eager to leave my tummy. And my second pregnancy also, but because I've had this good pregnancy and birthing stories, I think that also helped that I managed to work while being pregnant. Because pregnancy doesn't pause court schedules or court clients, and what makes it harder is it's so unpredictable. So how about you, Shell? Were you able to experience in your being a lawyer pregnant woman? Were you able to experience certain memorable things that happened in the courtroom being pregnant?
Right. What I can remember is the one recently I attended, because right now, even at 36, going 37 weeks pregnant, I just attended, court
Court
hearings.
hearing, yeah.
Just the other day I was in Talisay, and then
Yes.
the other week I was in Moalboal. And most people in litigation, most lawyers in litigation are, senior men.
Mm.
You rarely see women there, much so women that who are pregnant.
Very big family
Very big
already.
family. And so there's like a notion really that can she still handle the workload, or maybe she should slow down, as if Lalaine, pregnancy would wipe out your skills as a lawyer.
True.
So for me, it's a constant balancing act, protecting your health while showing everyone that you're still capable, even in litigation, as as a pregnant lawyer mom.
And pregnancy is not an excuse that we cannot deliver, and
Right.
we not an excuse that we cannot be lawyers. It's effective lawyers. So I remember also one story, Chad. I was negotiating a contract. There were three lawyers on the other side of the table, and I'm the pregnant woman coming in and negotiating. But for me, that was a very memorable law practice because yes, we were able to had a favorable outcome on the negotiation, but it was one thing that even if you're pregnant and you've got three tough guys across the table, as long as you know that this is what you're fighting for, you're in the right track. That's the beauty of lawyering.
Right. And pregnancy hormones would really help.
Yes.
You would, fight for your client more so this time.
Yeah, pregnancy hormone shell, but it's also important to learn how to set boundaries. So when your body is telling you to rest, I had to remind myself that too. So there was a point in my first pregnancy, I was on a bed rest because there were complete there. I had my myoma and I had pains, and I had paused. But when the doctor told me it's fine, you can keep on working, I had to follow. So I think the important is to set boundaries.
Right. Exactly. For me, leaning on my support system was key, really, for these two pregnancies, the 10-year apart. Leaning support from my family, colleagues, mentors who understood, even mentors who reminded me, like you, that pregnancy isn't really weakness. It's just a season. The hardest part was letting go of the guilt that you will feel as a pregnant mom. And once I stopped feeling guilty for resting, everything really became lighter. That it's okay.
And that's such an important message. You really can pour from an empty cup. And to all working moms listening, especially in demanding fields like lawyering, like medicine, that is a reminder to all of us.
So let's have a quick Q&A portion, Attorney Lalaine.
Regarding pregnancies. Go,
Right.
go,
So what
go.
was the toughest physical challenge you faced while pregnant?
Probably the toughest was my certain complications that I did some bed rest and really my severe back pains on my second pregnancy. I had to like have a massage every night because it was really very painful. How about you of the two pregnancies?
For me, it was the fatigue. Before pregnancy, I could work late nights and still bounce back. Like, okay, do the pleadings overnight,
Now it's so
research.
kapoy.
Yeah, but during pregnancy, I had to pace myself because, you just have that burst of energy and then it lowers down and you drain and you want to sleep and then your back aches. So before as well, the first pregnancy I had, I was a working student. I learned to rest whenever I could in between classes, breaks, or even quick naps at the office. So that was very challenging for me 10 years ago. So I'm lucky this time because I get to have that work-life balance, of course, with your
Yes.
mentorship as well. Next question is, what's the most unforgettable, joyful moment you had during pregnancy?
I think not on the pregnancy shell, but my birthing story. It's really my deliveries for both children were truly joyful moments. So much so that setting aside all our challenges, I would didn't mind going back to them again. I was blessed with about fast labor, just few hours, no complications, delivering my children, and that's something I'm very grateful of. But what made it even more memorable was in those two birthing stories. I have my husband beside me all the time. So he witnessed every shout, every tear, and of course, that incredible first baby cry. He was
Aw.
there for both pregnancies. And those are the moments that really etched my heart forever. But probably my most wonderful story was with my second because we were already both pregnancy we have this like sorry, in the second pregnancy I have this birthing room wherein my husband and I stay there waiting for my while on labor and for the delivery all throughout the delivery. I was already in the birthing room when my mom dropped by. So my parents were there just to check on me. But pure timing. She happened to be there right when I was already in active labor, and my baby was about to come out. So she was
Oh.
exactly in that moment, because I'm entitled to two guests inside the birthing room, and my husband and my mom was, oh, come here, you witness. So my mother personally witnessed how became a second mother.
So that's like 3 generations.
Yeah, so it was truly heartwarming and unforgettable. And another thing that I cannot forget is that while I was already in labor, about to deliver the baby, and I was telling the nurse and the doctor, please don't forget my
Camera.
photos and camera. Because my first pregnancy, I was blessed that one of the doctor I know personally, coming from the same school, and I told her, please take photos, use my phone while I was already in labor and about to give birth. The second pregnancy, I have again another family friend who was there, the head nurse, and said, don't forget my photos. So when I was already about to give birth, I told them, oh, where's the camera? Please don't forget to take my husband was so angry. Concentrate. Concentrate or focus. You forget about the camera. But really, that's one memorable, funny
Right.
experience that now I can show to my kids, this was your birthing story. And there was even one funny few, like yesterday, there was a conversation. Mommy, you know what? This classmate told me that I was adopted. Like that. My sister was teasing me because, oh, you're adopted. And they were like joking around. You want to see your birthing pictures and videos?
Evidence.
As proof that you came from mommy. So these are funny things, but probably one of the most memorable and significant birthing stories.
Was
that
your
I
son
could
able
share.
to see the photo, really?
Of course, because I showed them, oh, this was you. You still have blood. You came out from. This was daddy. So, and this was Lola, who was totally there with us when I had you. So, very memorable birthing story. How about you, Shell? What do you have any memorable story in pregnancy or birthing in your first?
Honestly, it was just the first time I heard the heartbeat of my baby during an ultrasound. For me, that really sounds magical. Having that life within you, I felt joy and disbelief all at once. And it was the moment that it became really real for me, like hearing that
Yes,
heartbeat.
just like the rest of the moms, that's the best sound ever that we
Yeah.
can hear.
Did you also have any like unusual cravings at the time
I
when you're
didn't have
pregnant?
unusual cravings. I eat everything. So that was my dilemma because I didn't have the nausea, the suka-suka thing. So I eat everything, and that made me gain so much weight during pregnancy. There were times I would wish, I hope I had this like suka thing so that I don't have to get really very fat. But I didn't had.
But to all mothers out there gaining weight just like me, it's
And me
okay. Just still love your body. Your body is, protecting and giving another human being life. So it's okay. The stretch marks maybe it will not go away, but just learn to love that tiger marks.
It's actually a mark of a beautiful
Right.
blessing. So don't mind those stretch marks. Now that we've shared our personal struggle, Shell, let's shift into the probably or telling our listeners the legal side of things. As fellow lawyers and moms, we know that the law on maternity leave has already come along. I think you can share the first time you've had your pregnancy. How was it with your maternity leave with your call center company?
Or at that time, 10 years ago, there was no expanded maternity leave yet under the Philippine law. So it was 60 days for normal delivery. But I was fortunate enough because JP Morgan was, at par with the American system. So they adopted the 3 months or 105 days. That's now effective for the
Because
expanded
I think, Shell, most countries, because before we've had only like 60 days, right, for
Right.
normal delivery, but most countries have this expanded maternity leave. In fact, like for example, in Canada, 1 year. Same as like in Japan and Australia. So Philippines, 60 days only. So the good thing about it, we have this expanded maternity leave law that changed the 60 days now to 105 days. So in your
105
first pregnancy, you were able to enjoy it
Yes.
already. So, but there's an additional 15 days if you're like a solo parent. So solo parents gets to have an additional 15 days of the 105 days in the Expanded Maternity Leave Act. And we thank our legislators to be able to think about it. This was a big shift from the old law, and the change was made to bring the Philippines at par with the international standards. Many countries were already granting longer maternity leave, recognizing that mothers need real time to recover and bond with the newborn, especially that we're promoting breastfeeding. What I also like about the law is that it allows up to like 7 days of leave to be allocated to the father, giving dads a meaningful role in the crucial first days of their child life. And I think the law also allowed it to be assigned or transferred to certain individuals, the father, or if in the absence of the father, any relative will do. So they can enjoy or they can help in attending to the baby.
Exactly, Attorney Lalaine. And it's not just about the longer leave. The law also strengthened protections against dismissal in employees due to pregnancy. And right now, employers cannot just terminate, discriminate, or refuse to promote a woman just because she's pregnant. And that's very important in a profession like ours, where women often feel pressured to prove that they can still deliver. Right?
Crucial, empowered women. Which brings us to another point that employers have the legal obligation. They're required to grant this leave, and if they fail or refuse to, there are certain penalties. And this isn't just about a labor case, but this is really a criminal case. If we do not abide with these penalties. So, what happens when the employers don't comply? What will happen to them? They don't only get administrative liabilities, but even criminal liabilities.
Yes, because under the law, non-compliance can result in fines, and I agree, even criminal
True, liabilities.
liabilities. And more than that, it exposes the company for labor complaints in the dole, right?
That's true. And as practicing lawyers, we've seen cases where women were even discouraged from availing their full leave or pressured. But it's also different that if it's really your choice, you voluntarily want to go back and to work because, like us, sometimes there's really a need for us to work uh, right away. And that's your choice. But it's a different story when you are forced to do it
Right.
against your will. So, to all moms listening, know your rights.
And one last point, Attorney Lane, the law encourages a cultural shift this time. Before, maternity leave was seen as a burden to employers, but now it's already a recognized right and an investment in healthier moments between mothers and children. And I think that's progress in itself.
I agree. So, if the lesson of our personal stories was resilience, the lesson of the law that we know of is empowerment. Women don't need to choose between their careers and their baby or their families because, in one way or another, the law at times addresses these concerns.
At the end of the day, attorney, our stories remind us that pregnancy really is not a setback. It's a season of strength, resilience, and grace.
And the law now recognizes this, granting mothers the more time and protection they deserve. I hope in the next few years our legislators will be able to think 105 is not enough, we'd have it longer, and even encouraging fathers also to share this in their journey. But beyond the rights, it's about rewriting narratives that motherhood and a thriving career can go hand in hand, like what we're doing. And to every woman listening, know your rights, own your story, and never let anyone make you feel that being a mother makes you less. In fact, it makes you more. And to our dearest Michelle, who is in our 37th week of pregnancy, we pray for a safe and healthy pregnancy. Until the next time, this has been
Lawyer Mom Diaries, where the bar meets the